Well, hi there. Welcome to Bella's Vistas. Thanks for visiting. I hope you'll enjoy this video. We're driving through the Vermilion Cliffs. We never know what we're going to see on the road here. Wow, there's an ice cream cone rock here. There's some ladies selling novelties, necklaces and things. They told me the reason it's so cold is because we were right next to that big ice cream cone. Here's a dwelling, a native dwelling here from way back 1500 years ago or so. We're back on the road driving through the cliffs again. We're going to pass Kanab Creek just up ahead here. I think that's it right there, Kanab Creek. And we're on the way. We're going to go to Mesa Verde. We have to drive up this big mountain here. Mary made me stop driving and let her drive. I got to take pictures and she wasn't so scared then with me gawking at all the scenery. There it is. Wow, that's Mesa Verde. There you can see the Kivas, which the Kivas are these round things where the people would build little fires in there and they had a wooden top over the top of them, let the smoke out, and they stayed warm in there. Each family group would have their own little kiva so they could sit around the fire and tell stories, I imagine. Now some of these towers look directly across the valley to another tower on the other side, and they could signal each other with lights through there, and you could see the light for a tremendous distance. Theorized that that's how they communicated with each other. Now they built this about 1500 or 2000 years ago, and after one generation they abandoned it. There was apparently a 20-year drought. Now a lot of these places were discovered through forest fires. Forest fires came through and they found a bunch of other settlements. Here you can see a big tower. Now some of the windows at the top might just be for ventilation. I really don't know that much about it, but there you see the ladders, because you needed ladders to get around. And it's theorized that they moved their settlement from the top of this mesa down to this part in the cliff to be safe from attack from hostile peoples. They stored a lot of food in the upper chamber of this thing, and water as well. Like they mostly lived on corn, and they had tooth decay was one of the biggest problems that killed them off at an early age, because they would grind their corn in a soft stone pestle. Now I had to lean back and look up at this artwork on the wall here. Came out of there and we're climbing up the ladder. Now I stopped in the Pecos Pueblo. This place was quite interesting because this kiva I could actually get right down inside. There's a ladder there. It says use extreme care. I went down the ladder and had a look around. You can see the wooden top. Now you can see where the fire is, and the square opening in the wall behind it is where the fresh air comes in, and it's got the stone block there so it doesn't put the fire out or perturb the flames. And everybody would sit around there, and because the fresh air was coming in through that channel behind the fire, the smoke would go up and it would be quite livable in there. And you'd be warm, because in the desert at night it gets really, really cold. And a lot of times there's high winds as well. So I had a nice look around this little kiva and then climbed back up and went on my way again. I was shooting with my cell phone and I had it in my one hand, and I was just getting my nerve together to climb up the ladder. So here we go. Would have been nicer if I had a bit wider angle on the lens here, but it is what it is. And there I'm going up the ladder back into the outside again. We had to totally mute the audio because the wind noise was too distracting. Well, back on the road again. Beautiful scenery. This is a nice, enjoyable drive. Wow, you never know what we're going to see when we get there, though. It's going to be quite beautiful. The scenery as we're driving along, maybe it's fairly muted and everything, but you see the stone beehives everywhere all around you in red rock. You don't drive roads like this every day, so I just enjoyed just sitting back and watching the scenery roll past me. I hope you can do that as well, because we're going to see some pretty interesting things more towards the end. This is the Grand Staircase Escalante that we're driving on. I didn't know that much about it. I saw it on the map and I'd heard some things in the news about it, so I wanted to see what it was like. We're just driving along here. They got a little warning for some of the curves. And there's livestock grazing around here. I guess I didn't see any, but I saw a Texas gate in the road there. And you can see some of the rock structures off in the distance, because we are going to go to Montezuma's castle, and it's going to be good. We're going to get to Bryce Canyon too at one point along here. Look at these curves in the road, and the road is winding and curvy. There's a place you could pull over and take a look. It goes quite steep down the hills as well. Sometimes I had to lock out the overdrive on my transmission so that it went up and down the hills a little better. We're just having a great trip here. All these scrub bushes growing along here. It's pretty harsh. It's a little bit like Joshua Tree Forest maybe. Lots of red rock everywhere, and it's just a fantastic drive. I recommend it. But it's a couple days of driving just like this. You don't even see anybody. You want to make sure you don't break down or anything. Have lots of water and food with you. We always do that. We're traveling in our van. We can stop and have lunch whenever we say it's lunchtime. But it's nice to find a coffee shop too. Wow, there's another settling in the cliff there. You can see the settlement carved out in the rock. We were shooting across a big gulf or a valley to these I was using a really long lens on my camera to get a close-up view of it. Here we're looking down on another one. You can see all the Kivas. They're very similar, the construction is similar. It makes me wonder about things like finding pyramids at various locations all around the world and seeing these Kivas and these towers and things. It's all pretty interesting. It took a great deal of ingenuity and effort, I imagine, to carve out those stone blocks. Here's the oak tree house, adapting to living in alcoves. It's quite interesting. The guides were really nice too, told us lots of information about everything. I highly recommend visiting there. There's a Kiva, a couple Kivas actually, a little one. And there's some towers and some Kivas. You can walk right along here and look at these structures, get right up there. You can see handprints in the mud around the windows. Look at that, wow. People actually, they built these things by hand. You had to go by ladder up and down everywhere. It's a really interesting place. I would, if I wanted to go there again, I would do more research and plan it out a little better. We just kind of lucked into this place. I saw a brochure at a gas station or something, and then the next thing I knew, there I was. Well, it's morning and we're getting back on the road. Made sure I had enough coffee so that I'm not too sleepy. Lots of curves and dips and bends in the road, and lots of scenery to distract me. I have to pay careful attention. And there are a couple other cars every once in a while. Not that many, but 25 around this jaggedy bend here. This lake is just outside Montezuma's castle. And there's Montezuma's castle. Now you can see how the part that's further forward is more eroded. The part that's in the back, more sheltered, is not as eroded as the part that's out in front. The guide there told me that. He was a very interesting fella. Here's some more of the little beehives there, the red rock stone beehives ahead of us. And we had a great time here. We saw Montezuma's castle, the Pecos Pueblo, Mesa Verde. I learned a lot. And wow, here we go. You can see where the native artwork, the Navaho Pattern, comes from, the little triangular formations in the rock. That was pointed out to me too by some of the weavers there. It's a nice long drive here. It was nice, it's dry, it wasn't too extremely hot. We were there in the winter or late fall, and so it wasn't bad at all. greening up a little bit here now. We're going around some corners. I believe we're getting close to Bryce Canyon now. I think so. We'll just keep on going a bit further here. There's a little teaser of Bryce Canyon off on the right there. I think we're going to be there pretty soon. But I had a great drive through here. Grand Staircase Escalante was great. Bryce Canyon at sunrise. What a great time to be there. Just beautiful. Look at the red rock and the shadows of the trees. All these people frozen in time here in the rock. Fantastic views. Totally different than anything I'm used to. Well, thanks for visiting Bella's Vistas. Please like, subscribe, and come on back again real soon.